There's a very real reason why you'd want to quit a job in investment banking. There's a very real reason why you'd want to quit any job that's well paying and has all this status and one of those things that everybody says like you should do. The big reason for that is that it's not what you are meant to be doing. It's not like your soul's purpose. I went to NYU. I went to Stern School of Business as an undergrad, which is, finance was like the number one thing that people were looking at. I had a job, on Wall Street lined up for me, an investment banking job lined up for me before I even graduated. I mean, actually, it was really just like before I even started my senior year of college. That was like the path that everybody was looking for. That's the thing that everybody wanted to do. They wanted to get these, cushy Wall Street jobs. And, the idea is that you'd work your ass off for a couple of years and, maybe you would go into a hedge fund, maybe you would go into private equity and, you'd be making millions of dollars a year. What I discovered is that it was not nearly as glamorous as anybody would, think. I remember there was this managing director, we were working like very, very late and it was his birthday. And he had said something to the effect of, hey, because this guy was like super successful. I remember hearing stories about how all he was doing was renovating his condo in Manhattan, which was probably worth millions of dollars. And I remember just being very late there. It was his birthday and he was saying, yeah, I don't know what it was, 48 years old. He's like, what do I have to show for it? It was this idea that he had made a bad bargain. Whatever he had, for whatever reason that he had gone down in finance, gone down that road, it was not for him. It was not a good bargain. It was not something that he was really happy with. That was very, very, very clear. There's other people there. I remember there was this one guy who's such a workaholic that his wife needed to literally schedule time for him so that he could see his kids. The thing that really got me to quit my career in finance, as weird as it's going to sound, it's not necessarily like a poem. It was just almost like a little phrase or something. And it was written it was on like a poster in the subway. I would take a train into work and there was like this little poster and it said, whatever path you're on, that's where it will lead to, or something like that. I'm probably like completely brutalizing this, but basically, where you're going is like where your path is leading. Wherever you're walking, that's where you're headed. That's where it's going to go. I remember looking around the office, looking at the people who were there, and just realizing like this is not for me. This is not what I want. There was that one thing. And there was another really important thing, which was an absolute certainty that there was a better way. I was absolutely certain that there was a better way to do it, that, in order to have everything, in order to have it all, to have the income, to have the freedom, to have the contribution, to have the fulfillment, all of that in work, I believed that there was another way that made it all possible. Because what we are taught, what we are sold from a very early age is untrue. What we're told is that in order to have the income, you're going to have to sacrifice this crazy freedom, all of your time. And I'm not saying that you build a very substantial income without sacrifice. Like there is, something that's involved, but the price that you pay for that in a corporate environment, it ain't worth it. I was talking to my brother the other day about, he was thinking, he was in between jobs and thinking about if he wanted to get a job with somebody or if, and I was suggesting that he work for himself and that he start his own company. And the reason why I said this to him, and, I was like thinking out loud when we came up with this, is because I was like, I would be an awful employee. Because, when you work for a company, their main goal really is to see how much more they can get out of you and pay the least amount as possible. Now, obviously, like this varies depending on the type of organization that you're with and things like that. I mean, in my team, for example, we have like profit sharing because we want to make sure that everybody's interests are aligned. But for the most part, like there is like that element that, for a business to be profitable, you got to see how they can cut costs. And I told my brother, like, I would never be a good employee because instead of looking, like that's the company's goal, but my goal is to see how can I get more with working less? How can I leverage tools that are out there? How can I gain skills that's going to make my impact be that much greater? That type of thinking is what has led me to believe that, that type of thinking is what clued me in on this idea that there was a better way and that there is. And I can tell you like now from experience that I found it is there. And if you want it bad enough, and if you're willing to work, if you're willing to sacrifice, if you're willing to learn, you can have it too.